Los Ricos, in my mind and my experience in Mexico, my 27 years in the mining business, is really, I believe, one of, if not the best undeveloped asset in Mexico. It's exploration drilling, but in a sense, it's brownfields drilling. Mm-hmm. And why I call it brownfields drilling, even though we went in there and we inherited 65 legacy holes, we've drawn a lot on history here. What we found were records that had not been open for over 70, 80 years. And they are the monthly records of this mine from 1908 to 1929. That includes all the surveyed assays, over 12,000 in the mine, what they took out, what they left. And really, that's why I call it brownfields. What we're doing right now is grid drilling that first zone. That's about 1 kilometer long, about 25 meters wide, and goes down about 900 meters. So that's our drilling. We pretty much know where to drill in the main zone, and it's just a definition. It really is a unique situation, one that I haven't had before.
What's the scale of this project, do you think, for you? What's it going to be?
We know we're onto something that we think is big. It can be world-class. We think it's multi-million ounce. We're working towards that 43-101 study. I know of other deposits in Mexico that are multi-million ounce, but they don't have the grade. What we see here is grade. We see real good grade, and it's being demonstrated from our drill holes that this has a tenor of grade that I think will put it into that top 5 or 10% of deposits. And always, in my experience, grade is king. There's an expression in the mining industry: grade will cover a multitude of sins. I think the real value that's created in the mining industry is from kind of the discovery. And here, we've gone beyond discovery.
When we spoke, shares were at 34 cents. They're now up at 42, almost at the year high. For you guys, have you been getting quite good traction, quite good reaction in the marketplace? I know you guys are big shareholders. I think between insiders and yourself, you have 40% of the stock. You've got some nice institutional and a bit of retail following you. So what are they saying to you? Are they saying just what you're doing, crack on, or have they got expectations of you?
We're real developers. We do build mines, and I know, and I think our shareholders know, that ultimately the real value is in having real assets and bringing those assets along to the point where either they become mines or you're bought out by somebody else. And it's the same roadmap. So those investors they're quite supportive, and they're saying, do what you've done before. And that's what we're doing. Have
you got a sense of what the strategy could be? Don't have to tell me what it is, but
from doing several of these, we know that there's a checklist for everybody, whether it's a major mining company or mid-tier. There's a checklist. So sometimes people will say to me, and they said a lot over the last 27 years, well, what's your plan? You want to sell to a major, or you're going to build this? And I say, well, it's the same plan, because the major has the same checklist, and they just want to see how many check marks you have. So what are we going to do? We're going to check the boxes.
How quickly do management in mining work out what it is that they've got and have a sort of sense of where they need to go? Not just the checklist, which I guess everyone has, but you at what point do you work out what this could be for you and say, well, we're going to maybe just navigate that path slightly differently because I think I know where this goes? How early on do you come up with that?
A while ago on this one.
Right.
Okay. This one is a very, very unique situation. One that I have not had in my career before. We know we have one of the top percentile projects right now. Now, we have a process we have to go through so that we can display what we have to the investment community and the regulatory community. I mean, there's a process. We can't, just because from my experience, I see that we have something that is superior. We've been here before, and yes, our market cap's only 70 million Canadian right now. Since the first of the year, we've doubled our market cap, and we've doubled our market cap because at the first of the year, we had sold our development asset to Agnico. We had bought it for 9 million. We sold it for 95 million in 3 years. So we're very happy with that. We already basically know it's there, and now we're grid drilling it off. So this is such a unique situation. I can see the value that can create. 70 million today. I've been here before with Gammon. We were at 70 million, and we went into Ocampo, and we were in the same kind of market, at the bottom of the market, just turning. And, we 7 years later, we were at 2.1 billion. So we have a great opportunity here.
Yeah.
And a great team.
Yeah, you do. I buy the track record. I buy the team. Cash generative. We're getting to that point. Los Ricos is a massive opportunity. I think what you just said about timing it is really, really fascinating, because we talked previously about where you thought you were in the marketplace, or where the market was. Your share price has doubled since the beginning of the year. I guess you're going to tell me it's got a long ways to go. You're good for cash for now, are you?
We're very good for cash. We're not going up to raise cash. We are in a cyclic business. Timing's important.
Yeah.
I always go with what I've said for years. Our timing's perfect. If you're there all the time, eventually it will be perfect.
Right. But okay. Good.
We're mining guys. We have to go with the down cycle. We have to go with the up cycle. Right now, I think we're coming out of the down cycle, and I think we're beautifully positioned with one of the best assets I've had in my career to ride into that up cycle, which I believe is going to come in the next 12 to 18 months. We're going to be solid into the up cycle. This asset will have superior grade and bulk mining, and it's really going to be one of the assets out there. Yeah, we couldn't be in a better place, and we're not at our knees. We have a strong balance sheet. We have an operating mine. That operating mine is doing great right now. We just put out a press release a couple of days ago. We're at best production that we've had in the mine's history.
What are you doing in terms of talking to the marketplace? You've got Denver coming up for institutional guys, but what are you doing for the retail market? How are you getting out there and telling this story to them?
We do a lot of road shows ourselves. We just put them together and talk to people that we know, because over the last 20 years, we've raised over $1 billion of equity. So we know a lot of people. But Beaver Creek, Denver Gold Show, we were over in London recently at the one-to-one conference. So we're going out there and getting our story done. We're working on with some software right now that's called Verify. The summertime is not a great time for a lot of marketing, but we're doing as much as we can. And into the fall, we plan on pushing a big program of that the retail investor can identify, can see, get visibility with the retail investor.
Okay, well, we'll look out for that. So what are the actual deliverables? Just a summary of the deliverables that we should be looking out for between now and the end of the year.
The SART plant at the operating mine, that is the plant that will extract a whole bunch of copper that we have in our system and give us back a whole bunch of cyanide. So there's really it's not an accounting inventory, but there's a big inventory over there of cyanide and copper when we turn that SART on. And that'll be ready, we've said, by the 1st of January. And when that turns on, it'll pay back in 6 months. On Los Ricos, we're drilling hole number 31 right now. We have two drill rigs going. We're doing that brownfields drilling, and we're going to step out a little bit too and throw in a few holes there that are more discovery holes as well. And we'll be talking about some of those. We think there's potential that we're on to maybe another ore shoot, which hadn't been developed in the past. So we're looking at the first quarter of 2020 to publish a resource. We're leaning a lot on this data that we've acquired. And a lot of that data is not just sampling data. This was an operating mine from 1908 to 29. There's a ton of metallurgical data. And that's one of the boxes you want to tick. I mean, you can have a great grade, and if you can't recover it, it's waste.